My grandma accidentally joined my Zoom date and wouldn't leave. I was sitting at my desk, sweating through my third shirt of the day, when my phone buzzed with a text that made my stomach drop. It was from Jasmine, the woman I'd been trying to impress for 3 whole months. The text read, "Ready for tonight? Can't wait to finally meet you face to face." Except we weren't meeting face to face. Not really. Because this was March of the pandemic year, and our big first date was happening on Zoom. Yeah, a Zoom date. Romance in the time of quarantine. My name is Marcus Thompson. I'm 28 years old. I live in Atlanta, and up until that moment, I thought I had everything under control. I had my laptop positioned at the perfect angle to hide the laundry pile on my bed. I had candles lit to set the mood, even though she couldn't smell them. I'd even practiced my casual laugh in the bathroom mirror 17 times. I was ready, or so I thought. What I didn't account for was my grandmother, Loretta Mae Thompson, the 67-year-old force of nature who had moved in with me 2 weeks earlier after her building went into lockdown. Grandma Loretta wasn't just staying with me. She had colonized my apartment. Her collection of prayer cloths covered my couch. Her stories about back in my day interrupted every phone call. And her inability to understand technology had already resulted in 3 accidentally sent text messages to my boss that included way too many emojis and at least 1 eggplant that we're still not talking about. But tonight was supposed to be different. Tonight, I had explained to Grandma in excruciating detail that I needed privacy. I had shown her how to use her new tablet. I had set her up in the guest room with enough snacks to survive a nuclear winter. I had even written out instructions on a note card. Marcus has important video call. Do not disturb. Love you. The call was scheduled for 7 sharp. At 6:55, I checked my reflection one more time, adjusted my collar, and logged into Zoom. My heart was racing. Jasmine and I had been talking for months. Ever since we matched on one of those dating apps where everyone pretends they love hiking and reading books they've never actually finished. But our conversations had been different. Real. She was smart, funny, and had this way of calling me out on my nonsense that made me want to be better. At exactly 7, she appeared on my screen, and I swear time stopped. Jasmine had her hair pulled back in a slick ponytail, gold hoop earrings catching the light, and a smile that could power the entire city grid. She wore this burgundy top that somehow looked casual and stunning at the same time. "Hey Marcus," she said, and her voice was even better than I remembered. "Hey, I managed," trying to channel all the smoothness I'd practiced. "You look amazing." "Thank you. So do you. Is that a new shirt?" "This old thing." I gestured at my shirt like it wasn't the 5th one I'd tried on, just something I had lying around. We talked for maybe 3 minutes. 3 beautiful, perfect minutes where everything was going according to plan. She told me about her day working from home as a graphic designer. I told her about mine as a marketing coordinator. We laughed about the absurdity of getting dressed up from the waist up while wearing sweatpants below the camera line. Then I heard it. A sound that made my blood run cold. The unmistakable creak of my bedroom door opening. "Baby, you seen my reading glasses?" Grandma Loretta's voice boomed through my apartment like she was announcing the second coming. "I can't find them nowhere, and Wheel of Fortune about to come on." I froze. My eyes went wide. On the screen, Jasmine's expression shifted from flirty to confused. "Marcus, is someone there?" she asked. Before I could answer, Grandma walked directly into frame, wearing her pink bathrobe, a silk bonnet, and fuzzy slippers shaped like cats. She squinted at my laptop screen, leaned in way too close, and her face suddenly took up my entire camera. "Lord have mercy. What kind of television is this?" she said, poking at my screen with one finger. The people inside looked so real. "Grandma," I hissed through clenched teeth. "I'm on a call." "Oh, I know, baby. I can see the lady right there." "Hi, lady." She waved enthusiastically at Jasmine. "You sure are pretty. You one of Marcus's little friends from the internet?" Jasmine, to her credit, started laughing. "Hi, I'm Jasmine. And yes, I guess I am one of Marcus's little friends from the internet." "Well, isn't that something?" Grandma said, settling into my desk chair and pushing me slightly out of frame. "Back in my day, we met people at church socials and community dances. Now everybody meeting through machines. What's your people's name, baby? I might know your grandmother." "Grandma, please," I pleaded, trying to gently guide her out of the chair. We were kind of in the middle of something. Don't you rush me, Marcus Anthony Thompson. I'm trying to get to know this young lady. You can't just be talking to anybody on these computers. There's criminals out here, catfishes. I saw it on the news. Jasmine was fully laughing now, and I couldn't tell if that was good or catastrophically bad. It's okay, Marcus. Hi, Mrs. Thompson. It's nice to meet you. Call me Miss Loretta, baby, and let me see you better. Marcus, why is she so small on this screen? Make her bigger. That's not how Zoom works, Grandma. Well, it should be. How I'm supposed to see if she's good enough for my grandson when she's the size of a postage stamp. I looked at Jasmine apologetically. She was still smiling, but I could see the slight twitch at the corner of her mouth that might have been contained laughter or contained horror. It was hard to tell. Miss Loretta, Jasmine said, I promise I'm a real person, not a catfish. That's exactly what a catfish would say, Grandma shot back. Then she leaned closer to the screen, studying Jasmine like she was an exhibit at a museum. You got a good face, though. Nice skin. You use cocoa butter? You look like you use cocoa butter. Yes, ma'am, I do. See, Marcus, she got sense. I like her already. I tried again. Grandma, I really appreciate you vetting my date, but can we please have some privacy now? Privacy? Boy, I changed your diapers. Ain't nothing private between us. She paused, then looked back at Jasmine. He was a colicky baby. Cried all night long for the first 6 months. Just thought you should know in case y'all get serious and have kids. It might run in the family. Grandma, what? I'm helping. Women need to know these things. Jasmine was struggling to breathe through her laughter. Thank you for the warning, Miss Loretta. That's very thoughtful. You're welcome, baby. Now let me ask you something serious. Grandma's tone shifted, and I felt my soul trying to leave my body. What are your intentions with my grandson? The silence that followed was deafening. I considered faking a technical difficulty, maybe unplugging my router and pretending the internet went out, maybe unplugging myself from existence. But Jasmine, beautiful, perfect Jasmine, didn't miss a beat. Well, Miss Loretta, I think Marcus is funny, smart, and interesting. I'd like to get to know him better and see where things go. Grandma nodded slowly, like a judge deliberating a verdict. That's a good answer. Honest, but not too eager. I respect that. She turned to me. She's a keeper. Marcus, don't mess this up. I'm trying not to, but you're making it very difficult. Boy, hush. I'm doing the Lord's work here. She stood up from my chair, finally, blessedly, about to leave. Then she stopped at the door and turned back. Oh, one more thing. What, Grandma? You got a good job, baby? She asked Jasmine. Yes, ma'am. I'm a graphic designer. You own your own business or you work for somebody? I freelance mostly, but I have a few steady clients. Mm-hmm. And you go to church? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes. Grandma repeated the word like she was tasting something suspicious. Well, we can work on that. You seem like good people, though. Carry on with your little computer date. I'll be in the other room if y'all need a chaperone. We don't need a chaperone, I said firmly. That's what Eve said about the serpent. And look how that turned out. With that pearl of wisdom, Grandma finally shuffled out of my room, closing the door behind her. I sat there in stunned silence, staring at the screen where Jasmine was wiping tears of laughter from her eyes. I am so sorry, I said. That was supposed to be romantic and smooth and nothing like what just happened. Are you kidding? Jasmine said, catching her breath. That was the best first date I've ever had. Your grandma is amazing. She's a menace to society. She's protecting you. That's sweet. She asked about your job and your church attendance. That's a background check. A very thorough one. Jasmine grinned. I appreciate a woman who knows what questions to ask. She reminds me of my grandma, actually. Same energy. I felt myself relaxing slightly. So you're not completely traumatized? Not even a little bit. Though I do have some questions about you being a colicky baby. We don't talk about that. Oh, we're definitely talking about that. We fell back into conversation. And somehow, impossibly, it was even better than before Grandma's interruption. We talked about our families, our childhood stories, the embarrassing moments that shaped us. Jasmine told me about growing up in Chicago with 3 older brothers who still called her Jazzy and treated every boyfriend like a suspect. I told her about Grandma raising me after my parents died when I was 12, about how she worked 2 jobs to keep me in good schools and made sure I never felt like I was missing anything. An hour passed, then another. We were deep into a debate about whether Destiny's Child or TLC was the superior girl group when I heard my bedroom door creak open again. "Don't mind me," Grandma whispered, which was somehow louder than her normal speaking voice. "Just getting my phone charger." "It's in the living room, Grandma." "Oh, is it? I could have sworn I left it in here." She wandered around my room, very clearly not looking for a charger, very clearly eavesdropping on our conversation. Jasmine waved at her. "Hi again, Miss Loretta." "Hey, baby. Y'all still talking?" "That's good. That means you actually like each other. These young people today, they don't know how to have a real conversation. It's all about them tweets and them snaps and them TikToks." "TikToks, Grandma." "That's what I said. Anyway, I'll leave y'all alone. Just wanted to make sure Marcus was treating you right. He better be using his manners." "He has excellent manners," Jasmine assured her. "Good. I raised him right. You let me know if he gets out of line, though. I got his baby pictures, and I'm not afraid to share them." "Grandma, please." She cackled all the way out of the room. This time, she left the door wide open. I got up to close it, and when I sat back down, Jasmine had this look on her face. Soft. Thoughtful. "What?" I asked. "Nothing. I just think it's really sweet how much she loves you. And how much you clearly love her. Even when she's driving you crazy. She's been driving me crazy since birth. It's her spiritual gift. My grandma's the same way. She moved in with my mom last year, and now she runs the whole house. Every decision goes through her. What we're eating, when we're eating it, who's coming over. She's basically the CEO of the family. Grandmas don't play. They're a different generation. Built different. Facts." We kept talking. Somewhere around the 3-hour mark, I realized I'd never been this comfortable with someone this quickly. Jasmine had this way of making everything feel easy, natural, like we'd known each other for years instead of just tonight. Then Grandma appeared in my doorway for the 3rd time. This time, she wasn't even pretending to have a reason. "Y'all still going? It's almost 10 o'clock. We're having a good conversation, Grandma." "I can see that. That's why I brought snacks." She walked over and set down a plate of cookies next to my laptop. Homemade chocolate chip, still warm, the smell filling my room instantly. "Miss Loretta, are those homemade?" Jasmine asked, her eyes widening. "Sure are, baby. Made them this afternoon. Marcus, give her one." "She's on a screen, Grandma. I can't give her a cookie through the computer." "Well, that's a design flaw. These tech people need to work on that." She picked up a cookie and took a bite, looking directly at the camera. "These are delicious if you were wondering. Family recipe." Jasmine laughed. "They look amazing. I'm jealous. Tell you what, you give me your address and I'll mail you some." "You're going to mail her cookies?" "Why not? I mail your cousin Terrence cookies all the time. He's stationed in Germany with the army. If I can get cookies to Germany, I can get cookies to wherever this pretty girl lives." "Chicago," Jasmine offered. "And I would absolutely love some of your cookies, Miss Loretta." "Consider it done. I'll add some of my peach cobbler recipe cards too. Every woman needs to know how to make a good cobbler." I watched this exchange with a mix of horror and fascination. My grandmother was essentially making friends with my date, bonding with her, creating a separate relationship that had nothing to do with me. "Grandma, aren't you supposed to be watching Wheel of Fortune?" "DVR, baby. I can watch it anytime. This is more interesting. Y'all talking about anything good?" "We were actually in the middle of something," I said pointedly. "Oh, don't let me stop you. Pretend I'm not even here." She sat down on the edge of my bed, clearly settling in for the long haul. Jasmine bit her lip, trying not to laugh. "Miss Loretta, can I ask you something?" "Of course, baby. What was Marcus like as a kid?" I dropped my head into my hands. "Please no." "Oh, honey, I got stories for days." Grandma's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. "Let me tell you about the time he tried to run away from home because I wouldn't let him get his ear pierced." "I was 14, Grandma." "You were foolish. Packed yourself a little knapsack with 3 pairs of socks and a box of Capri Suns. Made it exactly 2 blocks before you turned around because it started raining." Jasmine was howling. 2 blocks? That's the best running away story I've ever heard. He sat on the porch soaking wet, trying to maintain his dignity. I didn't say a word, just handed him a towel and some dry clothes. We never spoke of it again until right now. "This is betrayal," I said. "This is treason. This is called humbling you, baby. You can't walk around here acting all smooth when I know the truth." Grandma stood up, finally, mercifully. But for real, Marcus is a good boy, man. He's a good man, works hard, treats people right, calls me every Sunday even when he don't have to. Any woman would be blessed to have him. The room got quiet. That was the most serious I'd heard Grandma sound all night, and it hit different. I looked at the screen and Jasmine's expression had shifted too, softer. "Thank you, Miss Loretta," she said quietly. "That means a lot. I'm just telling the truth, baby. Now I'm gonna leave y'all alone for real this time. Marcus, make sure you walk her to her door when this is over. It's a Zoom call, Grandma. I don't care. You still walk her to the door. It's about respect." After she left, closing the door behind her with exaggerated gentleness, Jasmine and I looked at each other through our screens. The moment felt different now. Heavier. Better. "Your grandma's right," Jasmine said. "You should walk me to my door. How exactly do I do that?" "Stay on the call until I get to my room." It's basically the same thing. So that's what we did. I stayed on Zoom while Jasmine stood up, grabbed her laptop, and walked through her apartment. She showed me her collection of plants that she was somehow keeping alive despite claiming to have a black thumb. She showed me the gallery wall of family photos in her hallway. She showed me her makeshift home office setup that was basically a TV tray and a prayer. When she finally settled into her own room, we talked for another hour. About everything and nothing. About the future we hoped would be better than the present we were living in. About the little things that made us who we were. It was almost midnight when we finally said goodbye, and I sat there for a few minutes after the call ended, just staring at the ceiling, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. I found Grandma in the living room, watching a rerun of The Golden Girls, her reading glasses perched on her nose. "You decent now?" she asked without looking up. "Or you still on your little computer date?" We hung up, and thank you for that, by the way. Really subtle. Subtle is overrated. Besides, she loved me. I could tell. You could tell. You hijacked my entire date. I enhanced your date. There's a difference. She patted the couch next to her. "Come, sit with your grandma." I sat down, and she immediately reached over to straighten my collar, the way she'd been doing since I was 5 years old. "She seems real nice, Marcus. Good head on her shoulders. Pretty too, but that's just a bonus. I really like her, Grandma." "I know you do, baby. That's why I had to make sure she was worth your time. Can't have you out here wasting your energy on just anybody." "So she passed your test?" "With flying colors. Though she could stand to go to church a little more regularly." Grandma paused, then looked at me directly. "But here's the thing, baby. You better not mess this up by trying to be someone you're not." "What do you mean?" "I mean all that smooth talking you were trying to do at the beginning. That ain't you. You're a good man with a good heart and a grandma who embarrasses you in front of company. That's who you are. And if she can't love all of that, then she ain't the one." I felt something catch in my throat. "When did you get so wise?" "Baby, I've been wise. You just finally old enough to listen." She squeezed my hand. "Now, you gonna see her again?" "I want to, when things open back up." "Good. And next time you can bring her by here for Sunday dinner. I'll make my pot roast, the one with the potatoes." "You're already planning Sunday dinner?" "We just had our first date." "I'm not planning nothing. I'm just preparing for future possibilities. There's a difference." I hugged her then, this tiny woman who had raised me and shaped me and refused to let me hide from life even when it got scary. "Thank you, Grandma, for everything, even the embarrassing parts, especially the embarrassing parts. That's how you build character." That night, I got a text from Jasmine. It said, "Your grandma is my new favorite person. Tell her I said goodnight." I showed Grandma the message, and she smiled so wide I thought her face might split. "She's a keeper, Marcus. Don't let this one get away." 2 weeks later, Jasmine and I had our second Zoom date. This time, I invited Grandma to join for the first 5 minutes. They talked about recipes and church and the proper way to season collard greens. When Grandma finally left us alone, she winked at me like we were co-conspirators in something beautiful. 6 months after that, when the world started opening back up, I took Jasmine to that Sunday dinner Grandma had been planning since day one. We ate pot roast with potatoes, macaroni and cheese that had too much cheese according to health guidelines but exactly the right amount according to soul food law, and string beans that had been cooking since dawn. After dinner, while Jasmine helped Grandma with the dishes despite Grandma's protests, I watched them from the doorway. Two of the most important women in my life, talking and laughing like they'd known each other forever. "Your grandson is lucky to have you," Jasmine said, scrubbing a pot. We're both lucky to have each other, Grandma replied. Family ain't just about blood, baby. It's about who shows up, who stays, who loves you, even when you're being difficult. Is Marcus difficult? Jasmine asked with a grin. Chile, you have no idea. They both laughed, and I realized something important. That disastrous Zoom date where everything went wrong had actually gone perfectly right. Because Jasmine didn't fall for the smooth, rehearsed version of me I tried to present, she fell for the real me. The me who had a meddling grandma and embarrassing childhood stories and a family that showed up whether you wanted them to or not. A year later, I proposed to Jasmine in my apartment. The same room where we had our first date. Grandma was there, of course, hiding behind the door with her phone, ready to record every second. When Jasmine said yes, Grandma burst in screaming hallelujah, so loud the neighbors probably thought we were having a church service. At our wedding 2 years after that, Grandma gave a speech. She talked about love and patience and the importance of choosing someone who sees you for exactly who you are. She talked about Zoom dates and chocolate chip cookies and the way fate works in mysterious ways. Sometimes, she said, looking directly at us, love needs a little help, a little push, a little interference from a grandma who knows what she's doing. Everyone laughed. Jasmine grabbed my hand under the table. That first night, Grandma continued, I didn't interrupt their date by accident. I heard Marcus in there trying to be all smooth and perfect, and I knew that wasn't going to work. Because love ain't about being perfect. It's about being real. So I did what any good grandma would do. I showed this beautiful young woman exactly who my grandson was. A good man from a family that loves hard, talks loud, and shows up even when we're not invited. She raised her glass. To Marcus and Jasmine, may your love be as strong as your patience, and may you always remember that family, whether you're born into it or choose it, is everything. We toasted, we danced, we celebrated, and later that night, when Jasmine and I were finally alone, she told me something that made everything make sense. You know what I loved most about that first date, she asked? The part where my grandma interrogated you about your job? No, the part where I saw how much she loves you and how much you love her. Because anyone can put on a show and pretend to be something they're not. But the way you are with your grandma, the way you talk to her and about her, even when she's driving you crazy, that showed me exactly who you are. And that's who I wanted. I kissed her then, in the home we built together, in the life we were creating. And somewhere in the next room, I'm pretty sure I heard Grandma whisper, "Told you I knew what I was doing." She did. She always does. Looking back now, I realize that the best things in life happen when your plans fall apart. When the person you're trying to impress sees you at your most honest, your most vulnerable, your most human. When your grandma crashes your Zoom date wearing a bonnet and cat slippers and asks your future wife about her relationship with Jesus, love isn't about the perfect first impression. It's about the true first impression. The one where all your flaws and family and fears are on full display. And if someone can see all of that and still choose you, then you found something real. So thank you, Grandma, for refusing to leave my Zoom date, for embarrassing me in the best possible way, for showing Jasmine exactly who I was before I could hide behind a carefully constructed version of myself. You were right. You're always right. And I promise, when Jasmine and I have kids of our own someday, when they're old enough to have their own awkward Zoom dates or whatever technology exists by then, I'll tell them this story. I'll tell them about the power of showing up, of being real, of loving people loudly even when they wish you'd love them a little more quietly. Because that's what family does. We show up, we stay, we love each other through the embarrassing moments and the beautiful ones and everything in between. And if we're really lucky, we find someone who loves us, not despite our family, but because of them. That's the lesson. That's what Grandma taught me on that chaotic March evening when the world was on pause and love found a way anyway. Be yourself. Show up fully. Let the people who love you be a part of your story, even when they're rewriting the script you carefully prepared. Because in the end, the best love stories aren't the ones we plan. They're the ones that happen when we stop trying to control everything and let life surprise us. They're the ones that start with a grandmother in a bonnet, a plate of warm cookies, and a question about church attendance. They're the ones worth telling. Like this video if it touched something in you. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories about what it means to be human, to be family, and to choose love even when it's complicated. I'll see you next time.